A few years ago, NASCAR, the manufacturers and the team started working on a new version of the Nationwide Series car. Now, it will race 4 times in 2010 and a full schedule in 2011. Finally, after a lot of testing and a lot of changes, the race car will hit the track for its first race, 4th of July weekend at Daytona International Speedway. And Doug, I love the look of this car. It almost has that muscle car look to it.
It really does. It does give you a little bit of excitement here when you start looking around, because what it does, it looks like they've gained some of the manufacturer identity, and you can see some of the places, you know, like right here, for instance, this would be the hood overhang the grill on a normal production Mustang. So, you know, that's kind of exciting, I know, for the manufacturers, and you can see a lot of the difference in the splitter area, the lower area without having the braces and stuff on it. And then looks like they've introduced a little bit of truck scene right here too. So as we look around like this, I think it's going to be exciting. I think they're going to have their bugs that they're going to have to work through the balance and all that, just like always.
Now, Chad, a lot like when the Sprint Cup Series introduced the car tomorrow a few years ago, a lot of the same reasons to get the push to get this car into the Nationwide Series was a safer race car. Talk about a little bit of the safety enhancements that's in this new Nationwide Series car.
Well, that's the one thing that they have actually grouped together with the Nationwide Series are a lot of the safety features. For instance, the door foam. They're running a similar transmission as to what we run on the current Cup cars to get the driver moved over further to the right. So we've moved the shifter over to the top side of the transmissions. There's a lot of things. If you look at the chassis, very similar as well. So there's a lot of things that they do to try to, one, keep the confines on all the guys, get the rules more specific to where all the teams don't have as many race cars, and to make the cars a lot safer.
Now, does it have the foam in the door and the steel plate,
Yep.
just like the Sprint Cup Series car?
Yeah, just like the Cup cars. It's got the steel plate on the sides. It's got the foam in the doors. It's got the driver moved in closer to the center of the car. It's got some of the internal crush panels to keep some of the heat and fire, especially over on the right-hand side, to keep the exhaust from burning up the foam. So there's a lot of things that they've done that are very, very similar to the Cup car.
You know, the first thing that came to my mind a few years ago when Dario Franchitti actually got in that wreck at Talladega and got his legs hit and his ankles broke, I think, was the fact, gosh, if that would have been that new car, you never know, but possibly that may have not happened.
Well, I mean, you look at some of the hits some of the drivers have been taking this year. For instance, Jimmy at Darlington, when the 43 came out of the infield and hit Jimmy and went up into the wall at Darlington in turn 3, absolutely destroyed that race car, but Jimmy hopped up, walked out, and went to the infield care center on his own 2 feet. Typically, you wouldn't have that happen. The driver would be hurt, he'd be banged up, broken leg, ankles twisted, something bad would happen. And these drivers now, they're just so remarkably safe. It's a hats off to NASCAR definitely for the safety features in these cars, because they're so much better.
Now, Booty, when I look at the front of the car, I see a front splitter, a lot like what we run on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars, but it is a little different.
Yeah, absolutely. On our current Cup cars, the way we do it is you have a splitter at the bottom right here, and you have a large recess. You'll notice, you'll see probably on some B-roll, what happens is when you have your bumper line right there, it goes back and then down. And also you have splitter stays that actually support the splitter, because what you want to do with the front of the cars, or what NASCAR wants to do, is allow you to gain some front downforce. The way that happens essentially is you develop a high pressure area right here, regardless of how you do it. Well, on our cars, of course, it's just got that splitter sticking out, so the stays keep it up. But you'll notice here on the Nationwide car, what happens is they actually integrate the splitter into the front fascia. They kind of make it all one, more seamless, and I think more aesthetically pleasing. So I think it'll integrate the character lines of the production car, as well as produce the downforce that you need. I think it's a cool transition.
Now, Doug, even though there's been a lot of development with this car and a lot of wind tunnel testing, countless hours of wind tunnel testing by NASCAR and the manufacturers, there's nothing better than track testing. And as I mentioned, the first race is this 4th of July weekend at Daytona. And back in late May, during a Nationwide Series off weekend, NASCAR took about 18 to 20 Nationwide Series teams down there. There were some single car runs. There was a lot of drafting. What have you heard about the results of that test?
Well, hey, obviously the biggest thing that you hear from that test is the guys had to learn the new race car. The new race car is totally different from one end to the other. There's no wickers on top of the roof and such like that. You've got the rear spoiler like we currently run on the COT car. But yet again, the suspension is all different. Once they got into the mode of working with the car to get the car to drive to their expectations, they had to throw the old thinking cap off and think, okay, what do I have to do to make this car drive good? Once they got that going, they found some trends that they had to use. Once they got it, then they got the car running back better, and I think it'll only continue to get better the more and more they work with it.